Peace, peace, peace. Okay, here we go. Peace to the family, peace, love, and light. Yes, indeed. Let's talk about it. Get some of my notes together. Y'all make yourselves at home. Get comfortable. Peace, y'all. This is what you want. This is what you want. People been hitting me up, asking me, when we gonna talk about the game? All right. So we want to talk about games, okay? All right. I'm gonna give you what you want too. Peace, y'all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Peace, love, and light. Hopefully this past strong end was rewarding to everybody. You know, it was potentially very challenging. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you made it out on the other end of things with your sanity. There was a whole lot of psyops going on. Whole lot of psyops, and we're gonna cover a few of them. Because nothing is, there's no disconnects. Everything is connected. Every single thing is connected. At least that's my approach towards deciphering and decoding and discerning what's taking place, right? Nothing is by chance, and no things are separate. Everything is connected. So let's take a look at it. So we could really, our twin powers can activate. And we can really look at this thing. See it for what it is. Not for what it might be. We're going to take a cinematic look like Spike Lee and see it for what it is, not what it might be. There you go. Red Pillar Kalani. What's up?
Nah, I'm
Twizzler
Twizzler.
Kalanji.
Twizzler.
Wagwan.
Chilling, man. You know, drinking the
Coconut
coconut
water.
water.
Over there.
Talk, yeah. Conversation with
Yes.
Jah. Me a sun gaze, but the sky cloudy now. We have to bring out Jah. Road to Phoenix, man. You dig? Road to
Yo,
Phoenix and Team.
shiny through the cloud. Them.
Yeah, me have to bring
Jah,
Jah to shine to the crowd.
Jah for shine through the cloud. Them.
Yeah, yeah. Jah distracted right now. Him a marching and whatnot. Him a watching the news.
Oh, man.
Was good though.
What I always tell you, and people are going to come to your funeral quicker than they're going to come to your wedding.
That part.
Just to make
You
sure they
dig?
put you in the ground and tell lies about you when you're dead. So, seemingly, because I put a post up, right? And I told niggas the game is to be sold, not told. So I ain't telling you who my bets or my picks are. I put a post up and said that there was a, coincidentally enough, Super Bowl 23 featured the 49ers and the Bengals. So, of course, that's what they ran with. Oh, that's what you're saying is your pick? I said, no. I said, that's dealing with the alignment. That's more so is dealing with the alignment of last week. These teams that got into the game, got into the
Right.
championships around the same time that these rituals were taking place. Because what? Always giving a religious
Right.
overlay to these rituals. I don't have no fucking team, right? And neither do none of these black people, melanated people in this country, nigga. You do not have no team. You are a grown man with pom poms, cheerleading an
On
egregor,
the side.
right, or a sigil that represents a municipality that's governed by a principality that's tied in and going back to Rome. Now, all of these places
Right.
have historical meanings. You feel me? But nobody's in control that looks like us of any of these places. And the only bragging rights, which is the same thing is going to come down to this, is the murder rate. Oh, shit, my city, Philly, our murder rate, our crime rate is higher than Kansas City. Oh, no, nigga, we crazy over here. That's the bragging rights. The celebration of the same shit that people are
Right.
protesting right now is the flex on these cities,
Mm.
right? That's the flex on these cities.
That's
You
crazy.
can't flex about nothing else on these cities other than the fact
Other than
with
the body
melanated,
count,
but they're
I'm in the
murder
murder
capital,
capital.
right? So that's the
Yeah.
flex. That's what niggas are gonna hold up to one another to say my city's better than yours. You feel me? Because we got a big murder count. There's no
Right.
European colonized quote unquote cities who have made names out of their cities to coincide with the white murder or death that they do. Not even, you know what I'm saying, the death that they do to melanated people. Nobody wears that as a badge of honor. Only niggas do that. You feel me? And have the same nerve,
Right.
once again, to get up in front of people's face and protest when the rest of the world gets to see how that shit looks on camera. Right? But you profited
Right.
from being on wax. The whole team's gonna come out to the motherfucking Meek Mill anthem come Super Bowl
Right.
Sunday, right? So what's the beef? What are we bumping our gums about today, right? What is
Right.
niggas
Can't have
capping
it both
about
ways.
today? You feel me? How upset can you really be?
Right.
When this shit is, once again, these inner cities are co-signing their killing fields for babies. Not to take nothing away from that young man. You know what I'm saying? But these babies don't see the day of light in these killing cities, in these killing fields. Religiously. That's the flex. Right? Your baby can't make it here.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We chopping them up. We mowing them down. Right? We're putting them on the
Damn.
altar to this egregor. Taking all of that
Right.
energy that we've laid, we put all this blood on these dragon lines, and it's going all the way back to Rome. You feel me?
Mm.
And that's how we feed our motherfucking overlord. And that's the flex that these cities have. You feel me?
Right. It ain't like, oh nah, Philly, we own 12% of the real estate in the city. Oh nah, this is Philly, we got a black business district that's booming right now, we really support our own. Nah, it's really like, yo, my city is lit. Them bodies, you know what I'm saying? We beat in Chicago in the murder rate.
Yeah.
Our rap shit go off. But it's like
that's the flex.
Like you said. Yeah, like you said, the cognitive dissonance, it's like on the left hand, you bragging about your city being violent, but on the right hand, you're so outraged by what the Scorpion unit went and did to this young man on camera. You know what I mean? In Memphis, out of all places.
So how does this pile up to this game? Okay, you had 4 teams going in. 2 of them on the surface were obviously connected to Rome, right? Other 2 not on the surface, underneath the surface are connected to Rome, but you got to know the history of these places in order to put 1 and 2 together, because once again, people are being denuded by the face of a city to think, oh, because it's heavily melanated and populated, then this is a black city. Well, the same could be said for Atlanta, but Atlanta's the home of Cop City, right? Once again, the dichotomy. You got white boys downtown rioting, right, for Cop City because one of their own got murked, but they protested for black people. Black people don't even know about Cop City, let alone the protest, let alone value the boy that got murked. They think the tanks is there for them because of Tyree Nichols. And it's like, no, white folks is crossing the line saying, look, they're in your backyard creating a cop city, which is going to be a training zone for paramilitary training for officers for the most part. You feel? Hold on.
Look,
So they can do the same
Blue.
thing in your city that they was doing in when they was running down in Fallujah and all of these other places dealing with tactical warfare in urban
Basra.
settings. So the white boys been pressing the line,
Look,
right, and pushing up against
right.
the policies, and then it got violent. Okay.
Somebody, yeah, but look, for research purposes and for contextual purposes, I haven't been on social media like that, but I have not really. I've seen one informative post about Cop City, but there's not enough of it out there. So people, especially like you said, people in Atlanta doesn't even know, right? They don't even know about Cop City. They don't know what's going on with the Cop City protest. They have no, they know about Tyree Nichols, right? Rising power to the young God. But people are not, like you said, they're not informed about what's really going on in the backyard. They're proposing to build a replica in right outside of the city limits. They are building a replica of Atlanta and calling it Cop City, so these police can train in urban warfare and basically train, like you were saying, how they did in the Iraq War, where they built replicas of cities and whatnot, and they were training the soldiers how to get busy, kick down doors, run up and shit. So now they're doing this in our backyard, right in the forest of Atlanta. They're leveling. I'm talking about they're trying to tear the forest down, a beautiful forest at that. I'm talking about Indian trails, sacred land. For people that don't know the history of Georgia and how sacred that and how enchanted that forest is, they're pulling up and they're building out a whole militarized zone so they could further induce more terror. And keep in mind, people are marching about cops killing this young man, right, in Memphis. But Cop City is going to be training those same group of that special elite, the Scorpion unit. What do you think Cop City is going to be dealing with?
The same officer or the captain, she came from Atlanta heading the Red Dogs.
Are you serious?
Sherilyn,
she was the Red Dog?
Whose name
oh my goodness.
44 as well, okay? She came from Atlanta heading up the Red Dogs, right? They shut the Red Dogs.
And they had to disband them. Yeah,
right?
They had to disband the Red Dogs.
Then she goes to Memphis, of all places, and opens up the Scorpion unit, right?
These niggas probably riding around listening to Glorilla, Young Dolph, the best of fucking Yo Gotti. You know what I mean? And as you can see in the story where homie was sleeping with the police officer's baby mama, right? Allegedly. So they tied into all of the hood politics.
But so look, again, and not only that, it goes into this aspect of fraternal orders, right? And the fraternal order aspect is that there's so many things that put quote unquote brotherhoods in between brotherhoods. So this face-off Super Bowl is once again another opportunity, right, for melanated people to flex on melanated people, because these are two alleged melanated quarterbacks, right, in two heavily melanated populated cities who are entrenched in melanated themes. So you have the chiefs, right, the big chiefs of the land going against the eagle or the eagle feathers of the land, right? They have taken out the obvious connections, which would be the 49ers, which were the San Francisco Friars, who are from Rome or Cincinnati, which means Seven Hills. You take the obvious, you take the ops out the way, right? And now you're left with the gentry or the people who are what we would call what the Moriscos, the Little Moors, the people who have your face.
The converts, the conversos, right? The ones that converted.
But this ain't you, right?
But they
it's not only they
don't got your heart.
Your heart, right. Nigga. Like melanated people don't run Philadelphia and they don't run Kansas City. And they don't have no general managers that's black for either one of them teams. You quarterback a team, but you're not an owner. You got the kill rate in the city, but the city's not yours, right? The face of Philadelphia is Muslim, but it's a Catholic city. Right?
That's weird.
More so a Masonic one, more so than anything. But the undercurrent of that, the connection to it, of course, is we know that it is a quote unquote, let's say a Catholic Masonic city for that part, right? It represents
heavy Masonic,
right? Couldn't be more Masonic. Dealing with Revelations 13, right? The whole aspect. Shout out to Ross Ben, who explained when Penn and them came and founded it on the 40 parallel line, they operated a level of measurement and geomancy specifically to put it on right next to the Shoshana River, 444-mile river, and they specified that location specifically. They measured it and specified it specifically so they could harness the energy and align themselves with prophecy, because the church in Philadelphia is the only one that's supposed to be spared during times of quote unquote the apocalypse.
Real quick, you brought up Ross Ben's name. I can't forget because my mind be everywhere. He was on Know the Ledge Media. He came on our YouTube channel. It was about 2 weeks ago.
The primer that we did for quantum quickening.
The primer that we did for the lecture, for the quantum quickening lecture, and he laid out the 40-year mark or the 40-year continuum of the Philadelphia experiment. So in the year that we're in right now, it's 40 years from the last experiment that took place in Philadelphia, right? It was at 83.
Well, Montauk.
And
yes, the
Montauk experiment.
In 1943, the Philadelphia experiment took place. That's what people now call the Mandela effect. This is when the quote unquote U.S. military, by way of their Navy, was able to traverse time travel. Okay, and you can Google.
And written toward us.
Conspiracy theory. This is actual fact.
They put a tear in a time-space continuum by time traveling.
An entire ship called the USS Eldridge. My niggas, look at and y'all so marvel by entertainment. You feel me? Go entertain yourself with these facts.
And then 40 years later, and when you look at it on a map, it is a direct line to Montauk, right? So Montauk, which happens to be in the Hamptons, which is stolen land, right? It was indigenous. It was sacred land of an indigenous clan or an indigenous tribe whose surname was the Pharaoh, right? So there's a book called Pyramids on Montauk. Okay, if anybody's ever visited the Hamptons, you know how beautiful it is. Elijah Muhammad said that the European took the best parts of this bitch. You feel me? And that is, and when you go and when you see what the Hamptons look like, you'll understand fully about what it is that he was talking about, right? So they were able to tap in. There's a book by Peter Moon and Preston Nichols.
It's a trilogy.
Right? And it's a trilogy. It's a trilogy of the books, right? Shinnecock and Lenape, right? Me and Blue, our ancestry, our bloodline is Shinnecock. When we were little children, we were little jits, we were going to the powwows out there on the land, right? On the Montauk land. So I remember how sacred and how, just how powerful it is out there.
You know what I'm saying? Going to Shinnecock every year for their powwow. tapping into that indigenous history. You know what I'm saying? But again, the beauty of bloodlines, the beauty of family is that, you know, I got two parents and they got two parents and they got, you know what I'm saying? So there's so many levels of multiplicity. I claim all parts of myself. You know what I'm saying? And this is what this game comes down to. You feel me? Philadelphia is a scorpion city. Why do I say that? It was incorporated on October 5th, on 25th, 1701, right? Founded by William Penn. So it is a scorpionic city.
Right.
The team's name is the Eagles. Now, we could more so say, all right, the motif, because people is like Heru. No, Heru is a falcon. Heru is a falcon or a hawk. A scorpion is an eagle.
Right.
That turns into a phoenix. Where's the Super Bowl?
Right.
Hold on.
Can't mix the two up. Right. Right. Phoenix, Arizona.
So it's the 10-year anniversary of another Scorpio who went to the Super Bowl who had a meteoric rise and turned into a phoenix. Do you know who that is?
Happens to be Colin Kaepernick, the man who had y'all on your knees.
The same person who was genuflecting and falling on his knees to protest the police, right, unlawful killing of melanated people, okay, which is the same thing that the people were protesting last week for a day, maybe, okay? All right.
I think a day and a half.
I told you, you got 48 hours to return to your normally scheduled program because football's coming on.
Right.
So, yeah, we already know what that program is.
Jersey's on.
It's predictable. Niggas are predictable. And how did they find time in their protests, in their anger about inequality and white supremacy to go and watch you people? Which was another psyop. Yeah, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that one at some point.
Yeah, man.
And then shout out to
Lauren. Yeah, I just wrapped up.
Right. They also came out with a movie that day called Fear.
Yes. Called Fear. Right.
Right. So this concept of inducing fear.
Right. Somebody said half. Nah, somebody just said half of the Wu is from Shinnecock. Yeah, that's ODB and his whole bloodline. Everybody.
So I don't know if half of the Wu is Shinnecock.
But I'm saying, remember, listen. ODB is related to how many people in the Wu. Remember, that's his cousin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And Jizza, they how many
I
in
don't
the
know
family?
if they're direct family. I know that him and RZA's family. Feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, but go ahead. And also, I have to mention, because you brought up Kaepernick real quick, that he's the same archetype of the motif of these new two quarterbacks who are, right? One of them, are they both mixed, or what they call, Moriscos? I don't know what the proper term is for people who have two parents from both nationalities.
Amalgamated.
Huh?
Yeah.
Amalgamated Moors.
Amalgamated Moors.
So, are both of the quarterbacks amalgamated, or just one?
I could not answer. I know for a fact Mahomes.
Mahomes.
But the
right.
people in the chat, I'm sure that they can fill in the blank. Right?
And I read, I don't mean to cut your wisdom. I had my eyes on Mahomes after I read an article that spoke about him throwing the game to allow homie Brady to do what he did last time, you know what I mean? To get his rank and everything. And it was promised that Mahomes would become the next, if he went along with it, he's gonna be rewarded. So I automatically was like, if I'm gonna see if he makes it to the Super Bowl, not just based off of pure talent, but based off of what it is that I read. And they're like, yo, they're gonna elevate him and they're gonna push him. And as you see, Brady is falling off, and they pushing him into the spotlight, and then bam, he winds up. You know what I mean? And I didn't even watch the game, but I know that he wasn't. That it was looking like he wasn't gonna make it to the Super Bowl, and then some shit went down, and he
Yeah.
made it to the Super Bowl.
At 44,
You know, so he threw that game against
with 44
Bucks.
seconds remaining of the game, they got a key tackle, and they were able to set up a field goal, I believe. Right? And I'm sure
Okay.
that once again the fans can confirm that at 44 seconds, because they went into OT. You know what I'm saying? That this is what happened, right? It was tied 2020. Yeah,
Right.
Mahomes has been taking the L's or the knees to allow them to breeze through. That wasn't the first time. Feel me?
Right.
Yeah, nobody is talking
Right.
about Paul Pelosi. They put that video out at the same.
I didn't even see that
Yeah, they
tape.
got drowned.
I didn't even see it. I gotta watch the Paul. Yeah, because there was rumors that Paul Pelosi and homie was like, you know,
Yeah,
more than just
so
they knew each other.
that
And
that
just
that
leave it
that
at that.
scene,
But I
that
gotta watch the
scene is
video to see.
heavy, 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 right? In all of these narratives, especially dealing with majority of things that happened last week. Because remember, that's when the Pope came out and said homosexuality is not a sin, right? And he did it in Aquarius season,
Right.
ironically enough. This whole aspect of the king of Tyre or King Tyre. Tyre is two things. Tyre is a location in Phoenicia that Hiram comes from, who is the master builder, who gets what? Beat up, who gets killed by the
Right.
ruffians, right? And King Tyre
The three
in
ruffians.
Ezekiel 28 is also a euphemism for Shaitan or for Satan, who embodies a king who became too boastful and global, right? He was once the favored of the Most High, but because he had all of the jewels, he had all of the riches, but he started saying, "I am a god," right? He started self on an equal station
Mm.
to the Most High, and he
Feeling
got
himself.
torn down, right?
Right.
Proverbs 127 to 129 have
Right.
been from Friday to Sunday goes when calamity overtakes you like a storm, when disaster sweeps you over you like a whirlwind, when distress and trouble overwhelms you, then they will call to me, but I will not answer. They will look for me, but will not find me, since they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord. So this whole thing about fear is a heavy, heavy um, undercurrent of this conversation. Hence the fact, like I said, the movie Name Fear, featuring T.I. and a bunch of other social justice warriors, came out on Friday on 127. They was marketing that snuff film like it was a movie, like it was a release tape. They had a release date, release time.
Oh, hold on. Oh, first of all, yeah, I was in the studio on that Friday. I wasn't really familiar about everything that was going on. What I found out while I'm in the studio, there was a state of emergency in Atlanta, and somebody came upstairs and was like, yo, they got tanks rolling through Peachtree. I'm like, wait, what? So I had a great where I was at. The view is panoramic view. I'm looking out the window. I see the buildup. I'm like, this is weird. This, you don't find that suspicious? Then I see an alert talking about, yo, they're releasing the videotape of the snuff film in 4 parts. Once I heard that, I was like, where they do that at? So now they're preparing tanks, and like you said, it was at the same time that the Antifa boys was in Atlanta tearing shit up that didn't make the news. They didn't really. That wasn't breaking news.
The tanks was not for Negro. That's not what it was for.
Right.
But they never juxtaposed the story.
Right. But this is how propaganda works.
Because remember, um, the governor declared a state of emergency on Thursday. This ain't had nothing to do with time. This had
Before Friday.
everything to do with
Right.
Antifa
Right.
cutting up for melanated people who would never reward for themselves.
Right. Right.
Right? And both sides is funded
Right.
by Soros. So the BLM aspect of it is funded by Soros, and then the Antifa aspect is funded by Soros, while they
Right.
overseas cosplaying
They
wars
all ops.
in Ukraine. So
Right.
yeah, the
They all
whole
ops.
is a chessboard.
Anyway, so right. So they rolled out this trauma bond. They rolled out this video. They rolled out, this snuff film. Once again, trapping melanated people in their net of trauma, fear, triggering their pain bodies. We're in an election cycle. I want people to remember that this is all heating up. The theater of politics is upon us. This is that they're going to spend the rest of this calendar year and moving into 2024 to steer their cattle into those quote unquote voting booths, right? To vote blue. And this is the beginning of that, when they're galvanizing everyone's emotions and whatnot around what they've always done. You feel me? Ever since Obama and them, they've been galvanizing our trauma. They've been feasting off of our fears and trapping our energy in order to get some goddamn votes. And like you said, Blue, they dropped them fear the same day that they were inducing fear on the population with this newest psyops. Shit is crazy.
Let me go. I'll go right to scripture. Right?
Shit is crazy.
Because we can't leave that out of it. Because the boy's name is Kyrie. Right? So you can't not look at scripture. Right? I'm gonna show you how they for that. Hold on.
Right.
This shit crazy. This shit is crazy, bro. And once again, like I said, all of it from the game, because it's all a game, unfortunately, all of it is tied in. And then melanated people are going to be beating themselves over the head, talking about my team this. Nigga, my team is about to motherfucking murder your team. And all this stupid shit that black people get involved with when it comes to them being emotionally connected to things that don't have nothing to do with them. Right? It's not your team.
Oh, Philly tears shit up over the Eagles, bro. Philly tears shit. Philly be tearing shit up. Them Eagle fans, they gonna be in Phoenix knocking niggas out.
Oh, you already know.
I'm talking about. They gonna be they gonna be thumping.
I seen it. They was turning up on the 49ers fans.
Right. Don't play that shit.
Pull this up. But
dude.
Yeah, so
are we going to Phoenix?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm going to the Mineral Show. I ain't going to Super Bowl. But nonetheless,
I'm going to both. You know me. I'm in the cut. I'm in the mixing tent. I'm going to do a pop-up.
Hey, gotta get it how you live. Gotta get it how you live. I just no, hold on.
Right.
Okay, January 28th. So yeah, again, it ties in as an overlay that ties into all of the birthing rituals, it was taking place with the blood sacrifices during the blood moons, because all of those San Mateo deals with the San Mateo is Matthew, right? So you got to go to Matthew. Matthew
Right.
123 was dealing with the birth ritual of quote unquote Jesus. But when you go to Luke 129, right, or 127, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary, Gabriel appeared to her and said, "Greetings, favored woman, the Lord is with you." But she was greatly troubled at the saying and tried to discern what sort of greeting this might be. Look, she didn't even know that she was being propositioned for the position. She was like, "Wait, what is this? What you mean?" And then ran down and put a
Right.
baby in her. And then they said Joseph had sex with her after Jesus was born. So who got her pregnant?
You know that was Sky Daddy with the pull-out game.
Look, Matthew's 120.
Sky Daddy exercising and no
But he
pull-out
did not
clause.
have sexual relations with her until her son was born. And Joseph named him Jesus. Joseph, he wasn't even daddy, but he got to name the God's son, the
The
baby.
baby.
He
It's a stand-up nigga. Right
take
there.
her ass to Maury and come on, son.
That's a stand-up dude. That's a stand-up side nigga right there. They don't make him like that no more. You dig?
Yeah, the hood need more of those, man. So
The hood, yeah. The hood needs to take notes.
overlaying the birthing energy and the birthing time during a moon that was in Pisces, which deals with illusions, right? I kept saying, "Oh no, this is Pisces. This is dealing with more than meets the eye, right? You what you
Right.
looking at? I wouldn't look at that if I was you. They're leaving something out of it, and you're gonna take it into your dream state in Pisces, and you're gonna induce something. You're gonna bring something. You're gonna something. You feel me? So
Put it in context about what you're saying. Hold on. Put it in context. When you're saying, you're talking about the snuff film,
yes,
the video, right?
the video of them
During a celestial
during
event,
the celestial event.
during the
It was
moon,
in Pisces.
right?
The sign of Pisces
Right.
deals with illusions, right? It deals with deception. It also deals with the deep dream state, right? From which you project your reality from. Is from
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, bro. You're breaking up a little bit.
you know,
Breaking up a little bit. Yeah. I just want I need your audio to be clearer.
yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Sounds a little better.
Yeah, but you was narrating it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, I wanted you to continue because you was reading from that book.
Right. Do
I learn every time you read something from the book.
Deuteronomy 127 to 29 deals with what? Them not fearing, right? You grumbled in your tents and said, "The Lord hates us, so he brought us out of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us." Now, we know who the Amorites are, right? Where can we go? Our brothers have demoralized us with their report. They tell us the people of the land are taller and more powerful than we are, and their towns are large with walls rising to the sky. We even saw giants there. descendants of Anak. Then Deuteronomy 129 says, then I said to you, do not be shocked, nor fear them. Okay? So, in the mind,
right. And they talking about the giants.
what did they say? That these officers was towering, they was menacing, they was buffed up, they was giants compared to this frail young man who weighs $150 soaking wet. Those are not my words. This is what people was saying online.
Right.
Right? And then the fear that is induced by that, especially in the minds of young children. Because if you watch a 4-part series, you got to click play on part 2, part 3, and part 4. There's something sick about you. You end up with,
I won't say something sick, like the way that
it's
look,
bro.
The way that they built. You're starting to break up. The way that it was marketed, the way that they rolled it out, the way that they pushed it on the people, you know, they made it like it was a family event. I was like, this shit remind me of the Thriller video. You know, when the whole family would gather in the living room to watch the premiere of Thriller, Michael Jackson's video. So it's like children, if you know, they're gonna want to see what's the hoopla about. They're not gonna say we're not gonna watch the last part, because they was like, when part 4 came up, the newscaster was like, well, this is the most scariest part. This is the part that everybody's been waiting for. I was like, I'm not watching that. I turned the phone off after that. I was in the studio. I'm like, yo, don't watch part 4, because the way that they building that up, I don't think I need to watch that. We already know the brother died. Like, why do I have to watch him die? But the children, we're living in a world star hip hop era. We're living in a time when, you know, it's been desensitized. Murder and death is desensitized. It's everywhere. The cartoons, people is dying in these children cartoons. So it's like, they're gonna watch that. And they don't understand what a psyop is, and they don't understand, you know, what fear mongering is. They're really not that astute in a sense. You know, the whole family is gonna watch it, right? And they're building it up like the George Floyd situation. So we have a digital lynching where millions of people watch it at the same time, and their energy and their quote unquote their remorse, you know, all of this stuff is being siphoned off. This is the Matrix responding to what was going on with people waking up over the past few months with the actions of a Kyrie and a Ye, you know, trying to make people think. So now they're like, yeah, we're going to push this shit out here. And the face of the villains are going to be all melanated. You know, now you have people pointing the fingers about, oh, these house niggas and and yeah, the babies are going to watch that. They're going to spread that. You know, they're going to spread that. They're not going to feel a way about that. They want to see what the hoopla is about. Shout out to Fire Vibes. They want to see what the hoopla is about. So we can't blame them. This is a hyper-violent, hyper-desensitized society that we exist in right now. And, you know, yeah, trauma bonding is a thing now.
It's a real thing.
This is death culture. This is death culture. They remember Boys in the Hood. You want to see a dead body? They want to see the body. They want to see the body. They get fed a new murder every day on World Star. I ain't lying to you. It's not a day that goes by when they're not showing you a close circuit TV footage of somebody drilling a nigga in Brazil or Mexico. That's usually where they get their footage from. Niggas is always at a restaurant somewhere getting drilled. You know, that's part of their
Right.
diet now. You know, that's part of their diet. So we need to do. I want to do more research on what does that do to the brain. What does that do to the spirit? You know, how is that affecting the impressionable minds of children? Because you know, adults is finished. The children, though,
Yes.
you're seeing people die with no sound, like because the videos have no sound. So you're just seeing the imagery. You're just seeing the before and after. You feel me? And then let's not even talk about when the internet sleuths start. You know, when a rapper dies on film, that's a whole that you know those videos get watched almost 1 billion times.
Mm.
You feel me? So the same lynchings that they used to take postcards of our people hanging from trees and pass it around. Now it's digital, right? Now you just share it. You feel me? And the postcard has come to life. This is video. This ain't pictures. You know? So it's like, yeah, the
Yeah.
babies is getting it, but then you know the
And
mamas
then,
is
right,
getting it too.
these being lunar rituals and lunar ceremonies, they're inducing mama, which is Cancerian, dealing with the mother. You feel me? So it's insidious the way that it's overlaid and overlaid and overlaid and embossed in people's, not only their consciousness, but in the women and their mitochondria. So this is epigenetically going to affect the children that you're going to have. You're going to be birthing fear. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why would you sit down and watch these visual lynchings, these low tech visual lynchings of people? Like, what do you hope to get from that? I still don't understand that.
People want to be in the know. It's a level of being in the know. It's hive mentality. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be left out. You know, and nobody is really rallying against not watching it. It's literally universally encouraged. When you have news people pushing that shit like it's a sports game with no pushback, you know, people are like, all right, I'm gonna check that out. Let's see what. Remember, it's the buzz, it's the hoopla, it's the hype. Let's see what the hype is about.
All right, so we could talk about it.
So, so we could talk about it. So we could trauma bond over it. We could emote about it because you can't do nothing else but emote. You know what I'm saying? There's no crime to solve.
Right.
So
Look, even go to James
you know,
47. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and on to keep oneself unstained from the world. So if you wasn't
right,
going to see that man's mama and offer a level of comfort and condolences, then why would you engage in the visuals, even though they said the mama said she wanted the film to come out, right, on some Emmett Till shit? I want them to see
right,
my baby get killed. But you're supposed to keep yourself
right,
undefiled from the world on days like that. You feel me? What are you going to do with that anger? How are you going to
right.
channel it or alchemize that level of frustration of seeing somebody get bludgeoned to death on camera? Like, where does that energy
Right.
go? What do you do with it? How do you optimize it? And I'm just saying, ask yourself these questions.
Right. Right. I mean, you know, it's a good question. Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
And then they're gonna turn around and the flex for Super Bowl is that I come from a murder capital and my city's more murderous than yours, right? And that's niggas measuring sticks. Like, oh, I'm the baddest of the bad because we dropped the most black bodies in our city. All right, then you celebrate that shit. So what's the problem? The police don't come from the same culture that you do, and they hide behind the, you know what I'm saying? They belong to three fraternities.
Right.
They belong to fraternity of police. They belong to a Greek fraternity. You
Right.
feel me? And then they belong to the death code.
They was all frat brothers, right?
So there's so many things that separate true brother,
Interesting.
because Philadelphia is a city of brotherly love. But yet we seen with the lack of brotherly love, or what, you know what I'm saying? We see what it looked like. That's what it looked like. In so-called Black America, there is no brotherly love.
Mm.
Are you headed to Atlanta?
Thank you, ma'am. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
the Eagles of
conversation about
Phoenix, right? As a scorpionic city, did do ceremony or the ritual of what it takes for an eagle to become a phoenix. You feel me? And then the Kansas City Big Chief, again, you got two tribes fighting. Who wins?
Right.
Who really wins when you got two tribes fighting?
Whoever owns the tribe.
For the title, and neither one of them are the owner. Like, it's not like it's gonna go back to it's not gonna.
Right. So those men were mega sci-fi. Who knows how Ricky Smiley's son may transition? And condolences to his family, of course. It's a horrible reality when you have to bury a child and whatnot. I don't know how his son died. His oldest son, with his that would be his firstborn, correct? Yeah. So he's in the same frat that these men are a part of, right? So we're talking about, like you said, Blue. We're looking at skin color to make us to justify unification. Like, those are my brothers, not realizing, right? And I brought this up before about the oath takers, right? That you may think that that's your brother, right? But the oath takers, people who take oaths and put their life on it, right? For these fraternal orders, whatever you take an oath to, because if you're in the police, you're down with the fraternal order of police. If you're a firefighter, you take an oath. If you are in the medical profession, you take the hippocampus oath. If you are a lawyer, you take the bar exam and you pledge allegiance to the queen, right? So that is that's a new wall. That's a firewall that comes between you and your people, regardless if you look like them. Let's get off of the elementary school shit, because that been out the world. I mean, that been out the window. It's about when you meet somebody, ladies, when you on your Tinder dates, fellas, when you link up with Bay and whatnot, when they have like the 21 questions or the first date, ask the motherfuckers, how many oaths are you under? You know what I'm talking about? How many oaths have you taken? Who owns you? Who are you contracted to? You need to ask these questions so y'all don't get surprised years later, you know what I mean? When you find out this nigga was secretly married to one of his frat brothers. You know what I mean? These people are oath takers. So whenever they took an oath, they take in Hollywood. They take oaths in the music industry. They take oaths in the Masonic lodges. right? These are oaths of allegiance, and it's death if you cross that oath. So it don't matter if we look alike. It don't matter if we family. There's plenty of people on this line who had grandparents or parents who was in the Elks Lodge or who Masonic and never gave you the secrets, never told you anything, would not even bring you into the study den to give you some fucking game and whatnot.
Organizations until they died.
Until he died. Until he died, and they came out with the white gloves. He was like, "Oh shit! I thought these was his bingo buddies." You know. So you have to ask people in your life who are. How do you break the oath? By dying. You break the oath on death. Henceforth, why? Right. Henceforth, when you try the same way it. Think about gangs. If you're a blood, you took an oath. If you're a Crip, you took an oath. If you GD, you took an oath. If you BD, you took an oath. So organized crime, if you in the mafia, if you in the cartel, all of these are oath. All of these are organizations. Our people, we don't stand a chance because we don't have that level of organization, that level of commitment. We not pledging allegiance to nothing except your melanin. And that's not a bad thing. But you live in a society where behind closed doors, in secrecy or in private, people are locked in. They locked in, and and it's not like when they get locked in, you know, they wearing a fucking a button or a sticker to let you know that they locked in. But they locked in. And you could say, "Oh, that's not right. Oh, they're evil." No, nigga, they're locked in. They were attracted to the perks of brotherhood. They were attracted to the perks of a fraternal order. Motherfucker said, "I'm gonna make sure you get life insurance, death insurance. I'm gonna make sure that when you get buried, it's gonna be ceremoniously. I'm gonna make sure that you always gonna be employed. I'm gonna make sure that if you fall, we gonna pick you up." You think people is turning that down? When we have dysfunctional societies and nobody is promising anyone anything and standing on it, of course you're gonna be a fucking Eastern Star. Of course you're gonna run up and get the white gloves. Of course you're gonna grab an ankle or two. Whatever they ask you to do, you like, yo, for the brotherhood. So that's the Hollywood mafia, right? Why you'll never see these motherfuckers get on film and start spilling the beans, because when you sign that oath, you already know what the penalty of breaking it is. You already know what the penalty of break. We're gonna give you the world. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna raise you up. We're gonna pull you out of your shallow grave. But if you cross us, off with your head. And you sign on the dotted line, you agree to it. So when niggas get whacked and the family can't say anything, it's because they'll show them the contract and be like, "You can't go to the press and say anything. This nigga already agreed that if he got out of line, it was off with his head. So what the fuck are you?" The judge is not, the district attorney, all of them, they're in the oath. They're in the order. You think that they're not gonna prosecute. So they say suicide. Case closed. Rising power to DJ Twitch. Yeah, you violated, you get dealt with. Case closed. And they're protected. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So it's up to brothers that, and where does everything land on? It lands on shoulders of people like me and Blue and other people who is out here exposing shit. We ain't locked into no oaths, but we exposing the motherfuckers who are the oath takers, and it's their oath to silence people who are exposing them. Yeah, I don't be realizing how dangerous this whole, you know, they look at this shit as fanfare and whatnot. They don't look how they don't realize how real this shit is when you out here exposing shit and really standing on something.
Everything's entertainment. They think everything is entertainment.
Right. Unfortunately. You know. So I just want to put context to what the hell be happening, so people don't fall